All right, good day, family. God bless you. It's the time you've been waiting for. That's right, Senior Talk with Clara Hubbard, your resource and information show for people getting better with age. Well, let me tell you, I am very excited. Returning once again to our platform is a conference that is pretty stellar in the city of Chicago. Southside, let me tell you, it is setting the momentum of quality of the navigating the caregiver journey. More so, we're talking about the opportunity that is presented by the Alzheimer's Association in partnership with many, many, many great people. But I am here today with Alva Kennedy. Let me say, I've read her bio. I said, I'm not going to do it. But for those who are new to our program, I am Clara Hubbard, your host, granddaughter in the community, and thank you for making us a part of your day. So before we go any further, I just want to mention one thing, and that is it is critical in our country that we take the time to get the proper information from experts. Some of us are living this life out loud where we want to self diagnose. Please don't do that. We want to try put it on another spin. We want to give you this opportunity, especially we know caregiving is a universal topic. We have more instances and more conversations about caregiving that we've had in many years in this world. And more importantly, we're going to be talking to experts. This is the planning committee. And let me tell you, we're going to share what happened last year and how you can be a part of what's happening this year. So before anything goes further, let's do this. Let's get into the momentum of where we are today. And that is talking to one of the planners, Miss Alva Kennedy. Welcome to Senior Talk. How are you this beautiful day?
I'm good. Thank you so much. It's just an honor and a privilege to be here today.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So tell me this. You have been inspiring, if I would say, working with this great organization. Tell us about your experience, your career, and what brought you to the planning of this new conference, soon to be multiple years coming, of Release the Silence.
My introduction to the conference was last year. I have been a caregiver for someone with Alzheimer's. My mom had a 6-year battle with Alzheimer's and recently passed this January on January 2nd. And
God
so the
bless.
Alzheimer's Association has been incredibly supportive during my journey. And it was one of the first places I went to for resources. And so, just kind of on my regular hunt for additional resources during my journey, I actually ran across this conference last year and was an attendee.
Mm,
And to your point, Claire, it was absolutely stellar as a guest. Information that ranged for just the caregiving journey overall, what to expect from a medical standpoint, what you experience just socially and emotionally, as well as resources through vendors and the opportunity to speak with those who could help you on the legal as well as caregiving forefront. So, and research as well.
mhm. Well, you said it best, finding the resources. That is one of the key elements of our programming. Almost 14 years coming up
Oh,
is
wow.
being a resource and information show for those who need it. And for those who don't, just pass it on to someone else. But it is super critical. So let me say this. What were the resources that helped you with you and your family at that time?
The vendors were amazing. So going to the vendor tables and seeing what opportunities were offered through various hospitals for medical care,
Mm-hmm.
the City of Chicago, Department of Aging, you name it, there is at least 30 vendors that can provide services and resources to your family based on where you are in the journey at the beginning, at the end, I didn't know at that point that we were ending with my mom's journey.
Sure, sure.
And so just going, and also most importantly, the sense of community, to
Mm,
walk into some place and know that what I'm going through, others in that space are going through that too. And just being able to share and be open and realize that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's
yes,
okay to ask for help, and that other people are experiencing the same thing. So that sense of community, like I talked about the conference literally for about a whole week or two afterwards. And then also
sure. That's
shared resources with others. So I grabbed a couple of the bags and stuffed it with information and
mhm.
shared it with some other family members as well.
Well, I'm encouraged because you said something that I always try to tell the African American community.
Yep.
We should not be intimidated to ask for help. And I know this conference, we're going to play a videos a little bit in our show, but it was packed to the rafters and there were people embracing each other. And what I really like about those who are planning, there is a level of empathy
Hmm.
for every person in attendance that they offer, which is awesome, awesome, awesome. And it's something that we don't really embrace often, having a listening ear, and sometimes, like you said, you just brought resources back with you for others. And so not knowing, that your mother would not be with us at this moment, just think of now how you are honoring her by being that branch to many others. There are some people, especially during the latter part of last year, I literally, with my programming, we had friends over, and there were so many who said, "I think my mother or my father or my loved one is going through early stages."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, let's not guess, let's not self-diagnose." And I put them in touch with an organization through our program that was able to give them a lead and see where they are. And it was very helpful. So I appreciate that. I ask people, I beg of you, please do not self-diagnose. Please do not self-diagnose. Like they said, just because you can't remember where your keys are, doesn't mean you got dementia. It
Very,
doesn't.
very true.
I'm one of them. I'm 54, and I said, what did I come to this room for? Look around. That happens to all of us because
Yeah,
we're
it
very
does. And
busy. We're
especially if you had a stressful week, yeah, you can't find anything. You can't
right,
think
right,
of the
right.
next thing that you need to do. So, no, for sure. And the other thing that's really great about the conference, too, it actually starts from ground zero. So, like when you walk in, there is the opportunity to just learn more about the various types of dementia, too. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's educating people from the first steps until those who have been through the journey a lot longer. And so that's what actually drew me to the planning committee. I love
Mm-hmm.
events planning, but I wanted to be able to share this information and just kind of share my talents to help the message go further. And
Absolutely.
so I met the coordinators last year and just, you know, shared my information with them and said, I definitely want to be a part of this. This was so incredibly well done. And it's information that people need to know instead of pushing things off to the side. Education and community are everything.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
I'm working on something upcoming. More recently, I've come in contact with a lot of male caregivers.
Mm,
And the world, I mean, we know the face sometimes is, 80% women, if you would, but there are men caregivers
yeah.
who are out there. So I just want to put that message out to a few men and organizations that I'm going to reach out to be in attendance. First of all, let's be clear, it's free.
Yes.
Hello. Somebody hear me. Do you know multiple times there are conferences where you have to pay for the wealth of information that is going to be offered? So this room needs to be at capacity. At capacity. Now, for those who are tuning in and listening, this event will take place on May 3rd,
Yeah.
2025. Registration and information can be found on Senior Talk Media, but it is scrolling on our screen. This will play in multiple markets across the country. We'll get it to you. And I'm going to say, do you know if there at any point if this is going to be virtual?
So last year they did try to stream it. The goal is to also stream it once again. So at
Okay,
least some of the sessions you should be able to go back and watch them.
right. And because I program in multiple states.
Mhm.
That's the one thing that I want to do so that I could put it on my website and make sure that all communities just can watch it on one base and be satisfied with that. Now, when you started this caregiving journey,
Mhm.
what were some of the signs or symptoms or behaviors that you said, we need to seek additional care on behalf of our beloved?
All right. So it was probably in 2018. So it's kind of, for me, it's what do you do when you've become the caretaker's caretaker? So my mom was just
Mm-hmm.
incredibly strong. And for anybody in our family who got sick, she was their caretaker. She would cook, she would clean, she would take them to doctor's appointments. She would do that while she was working, and more so even when she retired. That was just who she was as a person. And so over time, I would, when I would come over after work and visit her, because she didn't live that far from me, so I would see her almost every day. I noticed her. The first thing was she forgot to pay bills. I opened the bill. She's like, "Can you write a check for that for me?" And I was like, "Sure, no problem." Um, and then when I looked, the check um, in the checkbook, it was all these scratch outs. Didn't know any signs at this point
Sure.
about Alzheimer's. No one in our family had Alzheimer's. If there was a disease that people were battling, it was more so cancer or heart disease. First experience ever for our family for Alzheimer's, formally, in a formal sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote the check and then I opened the bill, and the bill was really high. And I was like, "You're on top of your game. What's happening here?" Look, she hadn't paid it the previous month. Fast forward 6 months. She bought a refrigerator. We went shopping. She needed a new refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And she went back without me. We narrowed it down to two. She's like, "Let me think about it." Fine. Thought about, went back to the store, purchased a refrigerator. And then I asked her, what did she purchase? Couldn't tell me anything about the refrigerator. That was my turning point. Because anytime you make a major purchase, you can talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the bells and whistles. Fast forward a couple of months further, I'm the only child. So her primary care physician called
Oh,
and
who
was
you
like, "I'm
talking to?
really
Go ahead.
concerned."
You talking to me? Go ahead, girl. Woo. Only child. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead. No, I'm serious. Go ahead.
Yeah, so her primary care physician actually called and said, "I'm concerned about your mom. She has a high level of anxiety and she's been super sharp, and there's just been some changes. So I think she needs to get evaluated." And I was like, "I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed some things as well." Come to find out, a whole bunch of family members had noticed some things too. They just hadn't said anything to me. Can't really say anything to her, but
Okay.
they didn't say anything to me. We got her evaluated, and those are appointments that can sometimes be hard to come by. So please definitely stay in contact with your doctor if you think something is wrong. There are quick tests they can do, and then send you later for referral to extensive testing. We did that extensive testing, and my mom got her Alzheimer's diagnosis. This was the end of 2019. The results came back 2020 that she had Alzheimer's, and didn't know much about the disease. Kind of started reading up on it, and before we knew it, she could no longer live alone. So she lived about 7 minutes from us, and we're like, "Okay, we'll get you some medication, and it'll be fine." And you can't treat Alzheimer's like you treat other diseases. It just doesn't work like that.
Right.
So we she ended up um accidentally, I was doing her pill box and trying to coach her through her medication, and I wasn't there um at one point during the day, and she called me and said she didn't feel well, and I said, "What's wrong?" I go over to her house, and she had accidentally overdosed on her Alzheimer's medication. Like, the disease was progressing that quickly. We took her to the emergency room. We made them admit her to the hospital. By the time they did like additional testing and just evaluated her, they were like, she could no longer live alone. In 24 hours, my world changed. She had to come home with me, and my husband and my son. We just moved stuff around, made room for her, and in the blink of an eye, because we didn't know the signs and symptoms, she ended up needing to live with us for 2 years. And then yeah, so that is it. It's real. And if you really do need to look out, and if you think something is wrong, it's okay to ask for help or ask for an evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And we did those things, but it's also really wonderful to know the signs ahead of time. If you feel or think something isn't quite right,
Yes.
Go with that. Your worst case scenario is everything is okay, but at
Right.
least
Right.
you tried, and you were trying to be as informed as possible. Informed decisions are the best decisions we can make. And so you want to always be informed.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me say thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. Someone out there is hearing what you are saying, and they will be in attendance. And I will say you don't have to wait until the 3rd of May. If you want information further, we'll share it at the end of this broadcast. But what we're going to do now, our other guest is joining us, Phyllis Tempo. We're going to play the previous year's experience to show everybody how it worked out. It was phenomenal.
It
Everyone stay
was.
tuned. We'll be right back here on Senior Talk with Claire Hubbard.
The biggest vision is a day when we can treat and cure and prevent Alzheimer's. That's what we ultimately want to get to, a better understanding to not just treat it, but to prevent it.
I hope to see more research, more support, and leaving with more answers than questions when dealing with a disease like this that can be so different for each person. Every experience is different. That's what I ultimately hope to see. I hope to see a cure. I hope to see preventative measures advance even further for this disease.
Get involved. Make sure you support the Alzheimer's Association. Get involved in research, become an advocate, talk to your family about family history, but most importantly, get involved.
If you do have a loved one who is dealing with this journey of Alzheimer's and dementia, please make sure that the things that they do, the cognitive decline, they're not doing it on purpose. So patience and having the right temperament moving forward in this adjustment, not only for their life, but for your life as well.
Well, well, well. Look who's here.
Yeah, sorry. Oh,
Phyllis Tempo, welcome, welcome,
hi.
welcome. How
Hi.
are you, beautiful?
I'm doing well. How about you? It's so good to
Fantastic. Well, let
be
me
in
tell you.
company with you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I just had the honor of talking to Miss Alva. She's still with us, and her hearing her story. And it's right. The title alone is The Caregiving Journey.
Yeah.
I had mentioned to her previous that I'm going to make a stance because more recently, in the latter part of last year, I came in contact with quite a few men who were caregivers,
Yeah.
and I think they need to be highlighted. And I referenced that also looking on, I think it was LinkedIn, and my old school, my alma mater, Southern University in Baton Rouge, had the largest class of male nurses ever
Oh,
in
that's
their history.
Um,
So I thought there has to be a need somewhere. So
yeah.
that was so beautiful. So
Yeah.
Phyllis,
You're
you didn't.
absolutely right. One of our speakers is actually a male caregiver, and so we're really excited. And our other co-chair, Tim, is also a male caregiver. And we're going
Mhm.
to have a testimony from Dr. Michael Washington, who is caring for his mom and his mother-in-law, and him and his wife are battling that journey, and they're both only children, and both of their parents have dementia. And so he's going to talk a little bit about his journey and how he built his care team too. So you're absolutely right that men need to be in this conversation, and we're excited to bring that to the forefront.
Absolutely. So do me a favor. We want to see all of your face. We only look. There we go. I know you in the crooked things. You took off your skates just to be on this interview. We appreciate you. I know you still at it, girl. I know you still at it. So let's talk about this. Is this year two?
This is actually the third year.
Third year. Okay.
Yep. So the
So
first year we're at the Croc Center, and then our second year at Greenwood Oasis, New Life Covenant Southeast.
okay. What is different from previous years that we can expect this year?
Yeah, I think this year, the other topics, the past years were more broad. This year, we
Mhm.
really are having a concerted effort to tackle caregiving and the caregiving journey in our community. And so, in former years, that was part of the conference, but not the main focus. But this year, we're really kind of digging deep into one singular topic. And so, if you are a caregiver, or if you want to know kind of things to prepare yourself to be a caregiver, then this is really the place to be. And even if you're not a caregiver right now, it's going to be information that you'll use personally or you can share with someone. In our work, we always meet people who are caring for someone or who knows a caregiver. And so this year we really just decided to tackle that on and talk about all the different nuances inside of the caregiving journey, particularly in the Black community, because a lot of people are kind of just suffering in silence and not knowing where to go and not knowing how to build a team and a network and kind of just shouldering all the responsibility themselves. And so we really want to break away from that and show people that how to build a team, how to plan your finances and how to plan your end of life planning, how to work with medical providers, what's the language to use so people can really feel equipped to take on the journey.
One of the things that Alva mentioned is that it became in her family where the caregiver, she was caring for the caregiver. It reversed.
Mm,
So we have to really, really, really think about the behaviors and the things that we will see that with markers, of notice.
yeah.
Like I knew years ago when my family first learned, my aunt, she was a high school, no, she was an elementary school teacher many years, but her and my uncle, they were together everywhere for many years. And he was a bus driver. When he passed, I mean, within literally 6 to 8 months, her whole element declined.
Mm,
And I said, wow. And that's when there was a movie out. I forgot which movie where Esther Rowe was the aunt or the grandmother, and we started I saw my cousin labeling where the cups were,
mm,
where her undergarments were, and I'm like, this is just like the movie. But it was something. I mean, I'm talking literally over 15 years ago or better. So the information is now more enriched, and we have more tools. But at that time, we just did not know, and I just said, wow. And it literally within, I mean, maybe 2 years after his passing, she just got extremely worse. And we eventually lost her. But it was just that element of that person close to her. And her mindset just,
Yeah.
it's like, wow. I mean, I was stunned. So I need to come to the conference and ask some questions myself.
yeah,
You
please.
know,
We'll be
yeah,
honored to have you there.
yeah. So let me say this. Why one of the things that I want people, and you both have spoke on this, is releasing the silence.
Yeah.
I think, and I pray every day that my show will just be impactful for somebody to just get it and not be intimidated by what you are entitled to, you
Mm,
know. And so releasing the silence is a big deal. We live in intimidation. We're afraid to ask, but if we could go in any other community, they're the first ones to say and get multiple resources.
Yeah.
And they keep them there because engaging into the community. So what can we say to our beloved? I mean, we're not trying to chastise anybody or force them, but this information is here and it is at no cost. And what I really, you missed the first part, Phyllis, but that Alva, let me tell you, she talked about every resource that was there, over 25 vendors.
Yeah, we're so thankful to have
That-
Alva on our planning committee because she just brings such a unique perspective. And I met her at the conference as an attendee last year. And so
Mhm.
it's just really exciting to have her join the committee this year and really be an advocate for caregivers.
That's beautiful. Now, Alva, let's do this.
Sure.
You got a background. You just can't jump into this. What kind of what is your professional background? Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Brag on yourself for a minute.
Well, thank you for that. Actually, my whole career has been people and missions driven. I'm a connector. So I want to make sure that people are living their best lives. So I have actually been a community relations or corporate social responsibility and fundraising professional for my career. So I've worked for various nonprofits, just promoting causes that create a better life for others, as well as for corporations that want to do good in the community, helping lead those efforts through volunteerism, grant making, and the like. So that's what I'm doing. So this is personal to me, but it's just part of who I am as a person and just wanting to help others. People have poured into me. It's my job to pour into others.
Absolutely. One of the things that I am hearing, and we talked about it Dementia is the umbrella.
Yep.
Alzheimer's is one of the elements under it. And I'm taking a spin, and I heard what you said earlier in our interview, Alva, is that I'm making a stance towards heart disease
Mhm.
because heart disease is the umbrella, i.e., hypertension, i.e., sometimes diabetes. So there's an umbrella that we need to attack, and then we need to look at the strings underneath it or the drops underneath it to address it. So I heard that, and I think that is very, very, very impactful. So, ladies, let me say, we just got a few more moments, but Phyllis, you in your office, I see sticky notes. You still working day and night.
Yeah,
Everybody said working, working, working day and night.
but it's good work, right?
Yeah.
You
So
know,
so what is that one person who was listening and said, why don't you just come on out and get it? And you know what I'm gonna make a stance is ministry leaders across this city and country.
yes.
If you could drive 60 miles or a couple of miles, it's gonna be worth it. You're gonna be leaving with a bag of wealth for your community. Health ministries, community senior buildings, everybody, because even those in memory care come out and just
Yeah.
engage with those professionals who are there to work with you and be of service to you and possibly be in working partnership with you. So that's just my spiel. I looked at the video and I know it's going to be impactful. But what is
Yeah.
your closing remark, Phyllis, if you would?
Yeah, I think just please come out. Like, even if you are currently not a caregiver, or even if you are a caregiver, I know it's hard to make time and space for yourself. But, I encourage all the caregivers to do that. This is really going to be a space where you can really think about your journey and be around like-minded people who are going through the same thing that you are. We know that caregivers often feel isolated in
Mhm.
their journey, and kind of they're the only person going through this. But this is an opportunity to meet so many people that are going through exactly what you're going through,
Yeah,
maybe at different stages. You may meet somebody who is in a later stage, or maybe meet somebody who is in the beginning stage of the journey, and you can learn from each other. There'll be so many memory centers, care centers, providers that you can get resources from, connect with for your own journey. And so really I would say just to build community around this disease and to get the word out in your own communities. Even if you're not a caregiver, we all know someone, or well, all of our elders are aging. And so this is just information, good information, just have in your pocket for whenever you might need it.
absolutely. And I want to commend the city of Chicago because there are so many nuggets now that our memory, what's the term? Memory, it's like I know some libraries have memory care. I forgot that term.
Memory kits.
Memory kits, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Libraries, different places around the city. I think that's just momentous, and it's impactful for our community to know that some even in Inglewood they have a memory cafe.
yeah, there's so
You
many
know,
around. So all those memory cafes, all the Southside dementia friendly communities are going to be there. So the Illinois chapter of the Alzheimer's Association really has done a wonderful job to bring all these people together for our community. And
mhm,
so I think, yeah, we just need to show up and like return the support that they're giving to our community around this disease.
absolutely. So, Alva, what would be your closing remark? You have 30 seconds. I want to
All
rush you.
right, I don't even need the 30 seconds. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. And
Oh,
the more information that you get, the better decisions you can make and to better love and support your loved one. That's what I would say. Get all the information you can.
Let me say thank you to both of you ladies. We're gonna rock and roll. We got to get this word out to multiple communities across the country, and Phyllis, keep us updated if there will be a virtual option because we
yeah,
want to
there is a
definitely.
virtual option, and so I would encourage everyone to register, and then you will receive the link for the virtual option.
That's what
For
I'll
the
do.
registration.
That's
Yep.
what I'll do, and I'll add that to my site. So we'll make that happen. And
Yeah,
I
that
am
would
a
be
media
great.
department.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. So
But
let
we
me
do
tell
want
you,
to encourage everyone to come in person, because there's nothing just like being in a
yeah,
community
for
in a
sure.
room full of like-minded people. So,
Right,
but I
right.
understand if you all can't make it, and so yeah, that Zoom will be an option if you go ahead and register on the
The
website.
energy in the room is awesome, and the sense of community is awesome. You don't want to miss it.
All right, y'all got me. No, I'm not going to. I'm excited, and more importantly, we are filming this live. We're going to play this on multiple outlets. But everyone, let me say thank you for making us a part of your day. I am Claire Hubbard, your host. of Senior Talk and granddaughter in the community. We look forward to seeing you May 3rd, 2025 at Release the Silence Conference. For more information, visit my website, Senior Talk Media, or call our office at 312-725-4377, and we'll be glad to share that with you via email or however you desire. Thank you all for making us a part of your day, and we will see you next time for Senior Talk with Clara Hubbard. Everyone, take care.